Now you can imagine all the power in the universe. The Masters of the Universe collection.
Meet Ultra Magnus. As car carrier, he can transport 4 Autobots into battle.
What if that old toy sitting in your attic right now is worth more than your car? Some 80s toys are now worth thousands, and people are actually fighting over them at auctions. Could one of your childhood toys be a secret gold mine? Today, we're digging up the most valuable toys from the 1980s, and we'll also reveal hidden features that make yours valuable. And if you stick around, you'll see the toy that just sold for $55,000. Yes, you've probably played with it. So, what if that beat-up action figure you almost threw away is secretly worth more than $5,000? Let's kick things off with a classic: He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
23 pieces, each sold separately. There's He-Man and these heroic action figures, Skeletor and the Warriors of Evil, and 4 fighting creatures.
Back in 1982, this ripped hero was everywhere. If you were a kid in the 80s, chances are you had He-Man battling Skeletor in your living room. But here's the thing. If you've got the original 1982 He-Man figure in good condition with its packaging, you're already sitting on a small fortune. Some of these figures are going for up to $4,900 on collector sites right now. But wait, there's more. If your He-Man figure happens to be the Wonder Bread He-Man, stop everything. This isn't a joke. Mattel released a rare version of He-Man as part of a promotion with Wonder Bread. Yes, the sandwich bread. It wasn't available in stores. Kids mailed in proofs of purchase to get it. And because only a few hundred were ever made, it's now one of the rarest He-Man variants on Earth. No armor, no bright colors, just a bare-chested warrior with brown hair and boots. And collectors are obsessed. In mint condition, this single figure has fetched over $7,000 at auctions. Even loose versions without packaging are worth over $2,000. So yeah, before you toss your old toys, go check that box, because that plastic hero with the sword, well, he might just save your wallet. Now, imagine finding a toy robot in your closet and realizing it's worth enough to clear your credit card balance. Sounds insane, right? Let's talk about one of the biggest legends from the 1980s toy world: Transformers. Specifically, the G1 Optimus Prime from 1984.
Attack the Autobot Commander! Call in an Decepticon later!
If you were a kid back then, chances are you had one. Or maybe your cousin did. Or maybe it's still hiding in your mum's basement right now. This wasn't just any robot. It transformed from a truck into a full-blown leader of the Autobots, and kids were obsessed. But today, collectors are even more obsessed. If you've got a first edition G1 Optimus Prime, especially one made by Takara in Japan, you're holding gold. Even a used figure in decent condition can sell for $1,500 to $2,000. And if it's sealed in the original packaging, buckle up. Because a mint condition G1 Optimus Prime in box has sold for up to $12,000. $12,000 for a toy that originally cost less than $20. That's a 60,000% increase in value. What makes it so valuable? The original box art, the unused stickers, the die-cast metal parts, all details collectors drool over. Bonus points if it still has the trailer, the gun, and especially the tech specs decoder, which came as a little red strip to read secret stats on the box. So yeah, if you've got Optimus sitting in a plastic tub somewhere, he might be ready to transform your bank account. And do you think Barbie's just a cute doll with pretty dresses? Think again. Some of these plastic queens are worth more than a luxury vacation. Let's head into the world of Barbie, because some of these dolls from the 80s are cash machines in disguise. And if you still have one sitting on a shelf, or even in a shoebox, you might want to pay attention. One of the most valuable Barbies from the era is the 1983 Pink Jubilee Barbie. This wasn't your average store-bought doll. It was a limited edition collector release celebrating Barbie's 30th anniversary. Only a small number were ever made, and most were never played with, making the surviving ones incredibly rare today. Even if you don't have that exact one, you're not out of luck. The Pink Jubilee Barbie has sold for over $3,500 on collector sites. And get this, if it's in pristine condition, in the original box, with the silver accessories and commemorative stand, some versions have reached $5,000 at auction. But that's not the only golden ticket in the Barbie lineup. The 1985 Peaches and Cream Barbie, you know, the one with the giant peach-colored gown and shiny tool wrap, is another winner. Even opened, she can fetch $800 to $1,200, especially if she still has her outfit and brush. Collectors pay a fortune for nostalgia, but only if the condition is right. No chewed-up hands, no haircuts, no marker tattoos. So if you've got a Barbie buried somewhere in your childhood closet, it might just be time to dust her off, because her resale value might blow your mind. But what if that old video game collecting dust in your drawer is actually worth 6 figures? If you grew up in the 80s, you already know how iconic the Nintendo Entertainment System was.
I'd like to get my hands on that game.
You mean you haven't played it yet? We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System.
That grey box changed everything. It brought Mario into our lives, ate up weekends, and sparked the start of modern gaming. But here's what most people don't know. Original NES consoles and games, especially unopened ones, have become one of the hottest collectibles on the planet. Let's start with the NES Action Set from 1985. If you still have the full bundle, console, Zapper Gun, controllers, and Duck Hunt and Super Mario Bros. Cartridge, plus the original box in solid condition, you're already sitting on $800 to $1,500. But it gets even crazier. A sealed hang-tab version of Super Mario Bros., made in 1986, just sold for over $100,000. That's 100 grand for a game that originally cost about $30. What makes it so valuable? It was part of the earliest production runs, with unique packaging details like no Nintendo seal of quality or special hang tabs meant for store hooks. Only a few are known to exist in that condition. Collectors are on the hunt for these hidden gems, and most don't even realize they might still have one in their garage. Even opened copies of retro NES games can go for hundreds, especially if you have rare titles like Stadium Events, Little Samson, or Bubble Bobble Part 2. So before you donate that box of games to a thrift shop, pause. Because what looks like old tech might just be the holy grail of vintage gaming. And do you know the smallest piece in your toy box is actually the most valuable part? Let's talk about a real collector story that blew up on Reddit. A guy was cleaning out his storage and found an old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael action figure. It was scratched, missing paint, and didn't look like much. He almost tossed it in the trash, until he noticed something tucked inside the shell, a tiny plastic weapon. The original sai that came with the figure. Turns out, that little accessory, it's everything to collectors. Most of them were lost or broken, and the figures without them drop in value fast. So, he did some digging, listed it online with the sai and boom. It sold for $1,400 for a toy he was literally about to throw away. Here's the lesson. Sometimes the accessories, the tiny swords, helmets, cards, or stickers are what skyrocket the value of a toy. It's not just about having the figure, it's about having the full set, the original packaging, and even those small plastic pieces most people forget about. So, before you toss that broken toy, double check for accessories. That tiny plastic sword might be your secret weapon to a big payday. So, what's the single most valuable 1980s toy ever sold? You might be thinking of some ultra-rare action figure or a sealed Nintendo game. But no, the most insane 80s toy sale wasn't handheld. It was 7 feet long. Meet the 1985 G.I. Joe USS Flag aircraft carrier.
Introducing the G.I. Joe USS Flag aircraft carrier.
Skyscraper landing!
It's big, tough, and built to carry all the...
This thing was a beast, over 7 feet in length. It was the biggest playset ever made at the time, and still one of the biggest today. If you had one of these, you were basically the king of the neighborhood. It had elevators, radars, control rooms, and was built to house dozens of G.I. Joe figures and jets. But because of its size and price back then, around $109, most families didn't have the space or the cash to buy one. That's why today, it's the holy grail of 80s toys. In mint condition, complete with all parts, decals, box, and blueprints, the USS Flag has sold for over $50,000 at high-end toy auctions. That's more than some cars, and way more than it cost new. Even used sets with missing pieces still fetch $5,000 to $10,000 depending on condition. And the best part? Most owners didn't throw it away. They stored it in garages, attics, or basements because it was too big to move. So yeah, your giant toy aircraft carrier from the 80s, well, it might just be your retirement fund. Now, go check your attic. That oversized toy you almost forgot about could be worth more than everything in your wallet. If you find one, drop it in the comments. We want to see what you uncover.